What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Group Podcast. We got a lot of exciting stuff to talk about, so let's get it. So, I'm from Congo. My dad is a doctor, he's actually a pediatrician. So, we weren't super rich, but we were well off. So, I went to a really good school. I went to a school where a lot of kids came from wealthy families, a lot of kids from lawyers, doctors, and politicians. And as we were going to school, we used to have these journals. These journals were like big notebooks that was used as a communication tool between the parents and the teacher. Because back then, not everybody had a phone. And if you had a phone, who wanted to spend a minute calling the dad or the mom about the kid? So that's what the journal was used for. And so at the end of each day, we had to write down what we learned at school. And the teacher also write notes on the notebook or on the journal. So if the kid was being bad or there was a concern, the teacher would write it down in the journal. And when the kid would get home, the dad could read it. And on the first page of the journal, there used to be a place where we have to write down where we were born. And if you ever been at a school where there were a lot of wealthy kids, there's a lot of showing off. And not everybody at that school came from a rich family. Some people maybe were there because they had a rich uncle or a rich relative. So not everybody was quite rich. And so you had two type of kid. You had the kid who was born in the city, but because he wanted to feel superior or he wanted to act like he was better than everybody else, he lied and said that he was born in some exotic place. I was born in Europe. I was born in Paris. Sometimes they've never even been to Paris. And you had the other kid who was maybe born in a remote area or maybe a small village, and they were ashamed of the origin. And they were ashamed of where they were from, or they didn't want to show people that they weren't as rich, they were maybe not rich. So they would lie about what they were born. They were lying to say they were born in a city or they were born in a remote home. And so it was a school where everybody was trying to find a way to pretend to be superior to others. It was quite pathetic, quite sad. So you got the kid who came from a wealthy family trying to pretend to be richer than they were. Then you got the other kid who did not come from a wealthy family trying to pretend to be rich. So then I come to America, it's the other way around. Now you got black kids who came from nicer neighborhoods. Now you got black kids who went to really good school trying to act like kids who grew up in the hood. It's quite sad. I can't understand how a kid like Shedeur Sanders, who came from a rich dad, a kid who grew up in Prosper. Now, for those of you who don't know Prosper, Prosper is one of the richest towns in Texas. So he grew up with Jim, Tanner, and Jack. How does a kid like that, on the day where he get drafted, he goes out partying with a shit ton of cash, trying to flex? When you bring a lot of cash in public like that, you're either a drug dealer or you grew up poor. This kid doesn't fall under none of those categories. He's not a drug dealer and he didn't grow up poor. And it's quite sad. See, we got all these parents that work hard to get their kids out of the hood. You got all these parents that work hard so their kids can go to a good school and get a good education. And that's why his dad did. And that's his contribution to society. Acting like a peasant. I don't understand how a kid who got good education and never had money problem in his whole life has to exhibit these low-class behaviors. Walking around with a bunch of bags full of cash? Why? This is the peer pressure that society put on black kids. They created their standard that kids have to follow in order to be considered black. And then when you don't follow it, you're Russell Wilson. You're corny. There's not one person in that club that didn't know Shedeur Sanders was rich. I could promise you, you can go on Google right now and look up how much money he has. You can look up his net worth. You can look up how much money he made from the NIL. You can look up his dad's contract, how much money he just got from Colorado, the big contract he just signed. It's all public information. So in reality, you're not flexing on anybody. You're just putting your career at risk. You're just becoming a target by somebody who feels like he needs to rob somebody. And what you're doing is you're proving that what the NFL executive said about you is right. That you're a shit leader, that you're a bad teammate, that you don't make the good decisions, and you're not all about football. It's all about flashes and living and partying and showing off. And I was trying to understand why he was actually celebrating. It was nothing to celebrate, bro. You were supposed to be a top 5 pick. You fell all the way to the 5th round. You were the Bronny James of the NFL. Teams didn't want you. Nobody wanted you. Teams were running away from you like you had COVID-92. So I don't understand why he was celebrating. And now his career is risk because of where he got drafted. His career is at risk because now he's coming into a situation where the Browns had so many quarterbacks ahead of him. Deshaun Jackson is the starter. He's still there. They got Flacco. They got Pickett. And they drafted Gabriel ahead of you. And as a GM, when you make all these decisions, you got to justify it. Because you can't just make a decision and backtrack. And that's not how it works. And so you pay Deshaun Watson all this money. And so he's going to have to play. You're going to have to try to get something out of him. Because he can't just sit at the bench on the bench while getting paid all this money. And I'm sure they can't cut him yet. Then you got Flacco, who you just signed as a free agent. So you're paying him money. And so you can't cut him. And so then you got Pickett, or you give up a draft pick. And you give up another player in order for you to get him. And so you can't cut him because then your decision you just look like an idiot. And then you got Dillon Gabriel, who you picked as in the 3rd round. And so he can't be cut either. They just have more priorities because the priority is more to the person who's getting paid more or who you gave up more assets to get. And Shedeur Sanders was a 5th round pick. So a 5th round pick for a quarterback is a long shot. And so he's probably going to be the odd man now. He's probably going to get cut. Because I don't see a world in which he doesn't get cut. And so your career is at risk and you're partying? That's sad. So now everybody's wondering, why did Shedeur Sanders fall to the 5th round if he was supposed to be talented? Well, the easy answer is Deion Sanders. This is a father that could have just been happy that his son was getting drafted. He could have just been grateful that his son had a great college career, that he was moving on to bigger and better things. This Shedeur Sanders was a 3-star athlete coming out of high school. So he wasn't supposed to be who he is. So as a father, Deion Sanders did his job. He got his son to where he is, so he's getting his son drafted. You did your job. You drink a glass of wine and you're happy. But see, Deion Sanders always has to be the star of the show. Deion Sanders going to be Deion Sanders. He's going to run his mouth. Deion Sanders goes on TV and tells other franchises not to draft his son, that he wants his son to only play for certain franchises. Well, that was a mistake. The first reason why it's a mistake because now you're rubbing teams the wrong way. Now you got all these executives talking to each other. Well, who the hell does he think he is? See, LeBron James did it with Bronny. He told all these other teams not to draft Bronny. Well, that wasn't a problem because nobody wanted Bronny to begin with. So you're telling teams not to draft your kid. Well, they don't want him to begin with. Who cares? You're actually telling teams not to draft your son, and this team actually are probably interested in your son. So now you're telling them they stink that they shouldn't draft your kid. Now you got them talking to each other. So now you got this collusion happening. And they're probably telling themselves, well, if you give in to his demand, knowing who he is, well, what else is he going to do next? He's going to start negotiating contract for his son, asking for more money. Is he going to be on TV criticizing the coach because his son is not playing well? So we got to check him now. The other reason why that was a mistake, because Deion Sanders is trying to do the Eli Manning's dad playbook. He's trying to tell teams not to draft his son so his son can go to a certain team that he likes. What Deion Sanders, what you're forgetting is that Eli Manning's dad is white and you're black. You're not out there playing golf with these executives. You're not out there playing poker. You're not part of the Pi Kappa Alpha society or fraternity. So you thought that you had more power, but in reality, you didn't. And now you put your son in a bad situation. And you know what's the worst part about being drafted that low? It's not the fact that he's gonna get cut, because even if he does get cut, somebody else is gonna sign him. There's a bunch of sorry ass quarterbacks who are still getting jobs. I mean, Joe Flacco's still getting jobs. The worst part about being drafted that low is the fact that teams, they didn't have to do much to get you. You were a fifth rounder. And so the attachment to you, the patience, it wouldn't be there. They don't have to be patient with you, because being drafted that low means you were a long shot to begin with. See, when you're drafted in the first round, the GM got to justify why they picked you first. And that's why sorry ass quarterbacks like Josh Rosen and Trubisky, they got to play a full-on season, stinking up. But you got to play him because you got to justify why you picked him in the first round. See, Shedeur Sanders does not have that. I don't have to keep playing you when you're struggling. You're going to have to come in and produce. Because if you don't produce, you got to go. You were a fifth rounder to begin with. And that's the biggest problem. And everybody's trying to make this kid feel good. Oh, you're going to be, look at Tom Brady. Tom Brady didn't get drafted high. Look at what he became. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of when kids are trying to drop out of school and they tell themselves, oh, look at Bill Gates. He didn't have to go to school. He's a billionaire. Like, bro, Bill Gates has one of the highest IQ in the world. You probably failed PE in third grade. You're not going to be Bill Gates. And this idea that Shedeur Sanders is going to be Tom Brady, you got to be on acid to be thinking that. For one, there's no similarity between Tom Brady and Shedeur. Shedeur is a little more athletic. Shedeur is a home runner. Tom Brady is not. Tom Brady is he's methodical. He's all about timing and precision. Shedeur Sanders, a lot of time he wants to take off too quick. He wants to hit the home run. He don't want to take the safe route. That's one of the reasons why they're different. The other reason why they're different is because Tom Brady was never even a starter when his senior year. He had to share playing time with another quarterback. He didn't have the spotlight on him like Shedeur did. Shedeur was on TV all the time. Even knowing that they were bad, he was still on TV. Everybody was watching. I'm sure all the scouts were watching. I'm not sure all the scouts were watching Brady's game like that. He was a part-time quarterback. So this idea that Shedeur Sanders is going to be Tom Brady is pathetic, even if they're training each other, or even if Tom Brady's training him. Just because somebody's training you doesn't mean he's going to transfer your talent to him. We saw Giannis being trained by the Dream. How many post moves you've seen Giannis do? Dwight Howard got trained by Hakeem. Did you see him learn anything about post moves? No. Jamal Murray got trained with Kobe. Is Jamal Murray Kobe? Hell no. So this idea that because he's training with Tom Brady, it's supposed to be some special. No, it's not. Talent is natural. If you got it, you got it. If you don't got it, you don't got it. Now, I'm not saying the Shedeur Sanders is going to be a bust. But what I'm saying is he's not going to be Tom Brady. He's just not. And Deion Sanders knew what he was doing. Deion Sanders might be a lot of things, but he's not dumb. Deion Sanders knew that what he was doing was rubbing people the wrong way. He knew the owners didn't like what he was doing. But what he was banking on is that his son was special. He thought the team thought his son was special, that he could get what he wanted, because teams wanted his son. What he didn't realize is that teams probably liked his son, but they didn't think he was special. Team did not think he was a cannot miss talent because of the toxic relationship with his father being all this talking figure that's going to be on TV talking and giving opinions. They're like, well, we'd rather take it just to Jalen Milroe. And Jalen Milroe sucks. Jalen Milroe has a 99% probability of being a bust. And teams still took him. Jackson Dart. These guys they're long shot projects. They're probably not going to pan out. But teams were willing to take that risk and to take a chance with Shedeur Sanders. So I hope that he figures it out. I think he can be a Geno Smith type of quarterback, mid. But I don't think he's going to be anything special, and I hope he figures it out. I hope that all the stuff that Deion Sanders did does not hurt his son's career long term. But we'll see. So the NBA lottery took place this past Monday. And to everybody's surprise, the Dallas Mavs won the right to the number 1 pick with a 1.8% probability. This is just not a good look for the league. This just looks bad. This looks like the NBA is trying to cheat the game that we all love. There's been a lot of theories that have been around about how the NBA conduct business, about how they always manipulate things behind the scenes to get a certain outcome. I'm not here to confirm those allegations. I'm just saying this just looks like too much of a big coincidence. What just happened this past Monday just fuels those allegations. This Luka trade was already shady to begin with. Now, I don't think it was a bad trade because they traded Luka. I mean, I don't like Luka. I think Luka's not a championship caliber player. Not because of his talent, but because he's lazy. He doesn't try hard. He doesn't play defense. He doesn't want to get in shape. He likes his calories. He likes his burgers. And he's just not the guy. And so I was okay with them getting AD because AD is just, he complements the team better. You got somebody like Kyrie who's not a great defender. You got Klay Thompson who's not a great defender at this point of his career. So you get AD, you become more complete because now they got a lot of rim protection. And so I was okay with it. But so getting rid of Luka wasn't a problem for me. What was the problem for me was how they got rid of him and there was never a bidding war. See, that was weird. Getting rid of that kind of player, you want as many assets as you can. So why not start a bidding war with teams like OKC who got assets to give? You got teams like the Spurs who got assets to give. Why not start a bidding war and see if they're interested? It's like we just went to sleep one day, woke up, Luka was gone. See, that was what was shady. What we didn't know was that the Mavs were going to get the number 1 pick. See, now Nico looks like a genius. Now the fire Nico shit is about to stop. But this is not a good look for the league. And if you start looking at the history of all these trades, all these big trades, you're starting to notice a trend. Is that whenever a big player leaves a small market team to go to another team, a big city, the team that just lost that talent gets the number 1 pick. It's too much of a big coincidence when LeBron left the Cavs in 2010, the Cavaliers got the number one pick. By the fact, in the 4 years that LeBron played for Miami, the Cavs got the number one pick 3 out of 4. When Chris Paul left the Pelicans to go to the Clippers, the Pelicans got the number one pick. When AD left in 2019 to go to the Lakers, the Pelicans got the number one pick. And now Luka leaves the Mavs to go to the Lakers. The Mavs get the number one pick. And you know what's another weird thing is like all this trade, they seem to always be beneficial for the NBA in terms of viewership, in terms of how exciting it makes the league, right? Because you get LeBron to go to Miami, now everybody's tuning in. How's LeBron gonna look with D Wade? How LeBron is gonna look with Kevin Love? Then you get Chris Paul going to the Clippers, Lob City, Blake Griffin. Now we can have a real rivalry between the Lakers and the Clippers because the Lakers have been kicking their ass for years. And the AD goes to the Lakers. It makes it more exciting. Is LeBron going to win a ring? Is LeBron the king of LA? And so now you got Luka go to the Lakers. The season was dull. It was a dud. There was no storylines. The best teams had the best players on the best team were not really that interesting. And so you get Luka to go to the Clippers again. It makes the season more exciting. It's just too much of a big coincidence. It's just not a bad. It's just a bad look for the NBA. It just looks like there's a lot of meddling. There's a lot of shady deals going on behind the scenes. And you know what the sad part is that the short-term boost that the NBA was looking for by letting Luka go to the Lakers for the number one pick, while it started off well, it's becoming a nightmare. The Lakers get twerked on in the first round. Giannis gets lit up in the first round. Jokic is about to get eliminated. The Warriors just got out. So now, if you're the NBA, you're thinking, well, we can maybe pin Ant-Man and Tatum against each other. Well, Tatum just got hurt, and I don't think Minnesota's going to get past the OKC. So now your only option is OKC is going to have to play New York. So you get an unathletic 6'5" guard from Canada named Shea who shoots middies and hunt for fouls all day versus a 6'1" unathletic point guard named Brunson. That doesn't necessarily look like fireworks. Or you get OKC with Shea and the flaky second star named J-Dub versus the Celtics with Jaylen Brown as the marquee star. That doesn't sound good. So this whole big plan, it failed. So if you're the Mavs, you're in a great position. You got options. You have the number one pick. You're going to get Cooper Flagg. So what do you do with Cooper Flagg? The first option is that you can trade him for KD. That would be very idiotic. KD is 36 years old. He got about 2 years left. He doesn't guarantee you a championship. As we've seen the past 2 years, he couldn't get to the playoff this year. Last year, he got twerked on in the first round, and he was laughing while getting bounced out by a 21-year-old. Oh, KD is injury prone, so you don't want to have that. You're going to have 3 injury prone. You're going to have KD injury prone. You're going to have Kyrie injury prone. And we know AD, you can sneeze and he's out the game. So getting KD is not an option. The second option is you can trade for somebody like Booker. While that makes sense short term, it doesn't make sense long term. Because for one, it makes sense for both teams short term. You give Phoenix assets, which they don't have. Phoenix gets to build around Cooper Flagg. You get a 6'5" Booker, while Booker's a really good player. I don't know if Booker's a Hall of Famer. Booker is 28 years old. I'm just not going to trade a 6'8" player who got Hall of Famer talent for a 6'5" Booker. I'm just not going to do that. So then the better option is to trade Cooper Flagg for Giannis. I think that's idiotic as well. I don't know if you've been watching Giannis for the past 2 years, but Giannis can't do anything unless it's a layup. He plays bully ball. While bully ball is effective for him, it's physically demanding. Now, I'm not the smartest person in the world, but Giannis is 30 years old. He's not getting any faster. His athleticism is going to be disappearing. And for you to play the style that he plays in, it's physically demanding. You need a lot of athleticism. And his athleticism is going to start leaving him soon. And without his athleticism, he sucks. I'm sorry. He just can't do anything other than layups. So I'm not going to do that. The option that's the best option for the Mavs, that should be the only option, is that they need to keep Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg gives you is an option for now and an option for the future. Cooper Flagg is the most NBA rookie out of all the rookies coming in next year. He's too good. He got too many tools in his toolbox. Now, he might come in, and it's going to take some time. He might not become the star that he's going to be right away, but he's going to find a way to contribute, whether it's scoring, whether it's shooting, whether it's playing defense or passing or just making plays. He's just so talented and he's so good at so many things that he's going to find a way to contribute. Cooper Flagg, he's going to sell jerseys. Cooper Flagg is going to bring fans to the games. I mean, what is there not to like about this kid? And what history has shown us in the past is that the NBA will do everything it can to maximize the potential of its stars. And we're not talking about just any star. We're talking about a white American who has a chance to be generational. This is the Messiah that the NBA has been looking for. The NBA is desperate. They're moving Luka around. They're doing all these things. It's just not working. They think Wemby is going to change the league. Wemby is French. He ain't got no connection to Americans. Cooper Flagg is the Messiah. That's the guy they've been looking for. That's the guy that's going to bring racist America back to the fold. That's the guy that's going to bring racist America back on TV watching basketball. The NBA will do everything it can to maximize the potential of anybody that has a chance to be the face of the league. Wemby is not it. Jokic is too boring. Shea is just not athletic. He's not exciting enough. Tatum is Carlton. And we think he's Will Smith. This is the guy. The NBA will do everything it can. They've shown us. They gave LeBron James a stimulus package when they let Draymond get suspended for a game just so LeBron can catch up. They sent him down to Miami. They basically paid the Cavs with all these #1 picks. They found a way to get Wemby to a good organization so he can have a good career. That's what they do. They maximize their career. And so when you have a guy like Cooper Flagg, the NBA will do everything it can to make sure that you're competitive. You don't throw that away for Booker or KD or Giannis. This is the Messiah that the NBA needs. So for me, there's no decision here. You keep Cooper Flagg. And if Kyrie comes back and he's not the same player that he was, and for whatever reason, the project is not going how you planned, how you had it in your head, you can always pull the plug and trade everybody and make Cooper Flagg the face of your league or the face of your franchise. That's the beauty about it. So to me, there's no decision to be made. The decision should be made already. Cooper Flagg is your guy. So I saw Draymond Green's statement the other day saying that there's this narrative being created that he's an angry black man. See, that's manipulation right there. Manipulation is a tool that's being used a lot in society and on social media or on TV. People want to make you see things that aren't there. People want to make you see things in a certain way. Manipulation don't work on me. I manipulate people. It's like when society is trying to make you believe that snitching is bad. I always tell people, if you do a crime around me, do it at your own risk. Because when the Fed come knocking, you're going to call me gunner. Because I'm gonna tell. If I got to choose between my booty hole staying virgin and you going to prison, I'm always choosing you. And so Draymond is trying to manipulate black people into coming to his defense. Hey guys, they're trying to paint me as the stereotypical black person that I'm angry, that, bro, you're angry. It's got nothing to do with black people. You're just an angry person. Every race got angry people. Asians got angry people. Mexicans got angry people. White people got angry people. You're just angry. It's got nothing to do with black people. They're not creating these fake stories. They're just reporting a story that's always been out there. You're stomping people. You're choking people. That means you're angry, bro. They're not creating fake stories. Did they make you choke people? Did they make you step on LeBron? This is quite pathetic. And with everything that Draymond does in the game, throwing elbows, fouling people hard, we forget the most important thing or the saddest thing about Draymond is that he can't play anymore. He smokes layups. He cannot make layups. And when Steph is not out there where he can set screens, he's a bum. So there's a lack of accountability. And these people are always trying to race bait, trying to use race to stir something that's not there. This got nothing to do with race. You're just angry. And quite honestly, at this point, I think the UFC is a better option for you. Because you clearly can't play anymore. We live in a society where people don't want to take accountability anymore. They're either deflecting, they're blaming somebody else, or they're becoming a victim. This reminds me of that incident at high school where that girl was racing with another girl and she hit the other girl with a baton. And then she came on the podium crying, it wasn't me, I didn't mean to do that. Instead of just apologizing. This is quite pathetic, and I think the NBA is just way too lenient on Draymond. Instead of giving him all these fines, why don't you start suspending him multiple games? I mean, this is quite pathetic. I get it. You don't want to be too harsh on Draymond because you need Steph need Draymond. And so you don't want to be too harsh on them at this, but when is enough is enough. See, if Draymond was white, we'll be complaining, oh, look, he's white. They don't want to be too harsh on him. But Draymond, they're just way too lenient. He's choking people. He's always doing something. When are you going to start suspending him multiple games? I think players are having enough. I think players are growing sick of Draymond.
This has been The Guru. Unapologetic and unfiltered opinions on the hottest sports stories. Breaking everything down from basketball and football to soccer and the UFC. And might we add, your host is always right. Just ask him. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hook up with us on TikTok and Instagram. He's gonna stop talking for now. See you next time on The Guru.